We're now going to use the 20 to 10 pattern to really start perfecting the canter, getting the canter more than just the depart like we did in the last video, but how can we maintain canter and get to where we can ride a 20 meter, then a 15 meter, then a 10 meter, that sort of thing. I'm on Cal here. It's fun to be back on him. I started him back in '09, and then in 12 and 13, actually was fortunate to be able to show him in the Gypsy World Show, and we won the Western Pleasure with him those 2 years, so that was kind of fun. But he's been out in the pasture for the past few years, just kind of being a pasture ornament, and the owner is like, hey, I want to get him back up and start riding him. And so it's been about 2 weeks since I've had him, and just getting him moving, getting him to get exercise, starting to build some strength. And so that's why I thought it would be a good opportunity now. We've been playing around with the canter, but the progression of that is, whether it's a horse you're bringing in who's already done that sort of thing before, but you're just reconditioning them, or a horse that hasn't. Maybe it's a green horse, young horse. So the canter starts off with just getting the depart, then it's getting them to be able to maybe go canter around the whole arena. And then you start making the circle smaller, a bit smaller, maybe it's half the arena. And now we're to the size of the 20-meter circle. And that's kind of what we're addressing here today, is going from a 20-meter circle, how to maintain that, then start using a 15-meter circle and on into a 10-meter circle. So we'll start off with just getting an ice trot rhythm like we did in the earlier videos. And just getting that rhythm down, getting him soft and relaxed. He's a bit stiff on this side here, but we just go along till he's in a good place. Then we'll pick up the canter. Now the other thing too is the 10-meter circle is to help prepare you for the canter. So I can come around in a 10-meter circle and then say, and canter, and ask him to canter on. Now it's just getting him to maintain, get a nice rhythm in the canter. So there's a little bit of a stiffness in his back. His head's up in the air. When I put a little feel with the inside rein, asking him to turn, he kind of braces. I'm not too concerned with all of that. My biggest concern is, can he maintain the rhythm? We go back to maintaining the rhythm, then it's the line of travel. So he's holding a 20-meter pretty well here. The third thing is getting band. He doesn't have a whole lot of band, but I'm just riding the 20-meter for a few laps, waiting for him to relax down and soften into it. But I'm not pushing with my seat, just going with him. If he wants to break gait, I'm just touching him a little bit with the whip. And now as I come to the next green cone, I'm going to soften down, come to a trot, and give him a little bit of a break. See, and as soon as we come to a trot, he softens and he lengthens a little bit in his head and neck. So we'll give him a little break there. And now he's getting the canter to depart pretty well, so I don't need to use the 10-meter to pick up my canter. Eventually you want to get to where you can pick up the canter anywhere you are. So now I'm on the 20-meter I just shift my weight out, come on with the outside, and ask. Say, let's go. And he canters off. So I go with him. And now he's a little softer in his neck. He's stretching a little bit more, but he's still bracing. He's not wanting to bend. So I'm just going to put a little feel with the rein, ask him to bend, give it back to him. Now what'll help with this is I'm going to pick a green cone and then I'm going to ride a 15 meter. And that just means going around all the red cones. Back out to my green cone. And do another. So I'm just asking him to bend a little more. So I ride to the inside of 3 of the green cones, to the outside of all the red cones. That's my 15 meter. Now I went back to a 20 meter. And I'm gonna ask him to come back to a trot here. He's starting to get a little bit tired there. And then we just let him get soft. Yeah, see now, the trot is so much softer. He's more relaxed, flexing through. So I may not necessarily be getting it yet at the canter, but the canter softened up his trot. Got him better there. So now I'm gonna just give him a little break here, come down to a walk. So it's getting a nice rhythmic canter going. Holding that canter long enough for them to kind of settle into it. For them to relax into it. Now some of the pitfalls that you're going to have with that is there's our issues and then there's the horse's issues. So some of the things as the rider is you're going to have to get to where you're soft and relaxed. You're kind of sitting back in your seat and staying open. What I see so often is people they pick up the canter and they just kind of clinch everything up and go tight, and they get in this posture. And then they ask the canter and they start pushing with their seat. This can either shut the horse down, or some horses it'll cause them to go faster. But usually it shuts them down. So as the rider is learning to stay tall, stay open, stay relaxed, and allow your hip to rock back and forth with the movement of the canter stride. Another little tip is particularly your inside leg, your toes, is just relax those toes and relax the ankle. Because oftentimes we take this foot and we brace down on it. And when we brace down on that foot, we hold their front foot down into the ground. So really try to stay soft and relaxed. When you feel your horse, they're cantering along and they're going to go, oh, I'm going to die out. The moment you feel them want to shift down, transition down, touch them with the whip. Say, come on, keep going. Instead of doing a lot with your body. Because again, we tend to grip and get in the way and then we shut them off. The thing that we don't want them to do. So really stay open, stay with them. As soon as you feel they're going to transition, just touch them a little bit to say, hey, no, keep going. Also, you have to know where your horse is at. Like he's able to canter around here 2, 3, 4, 5 laps and it's not a big deal. But maybe you're just getting to where you're cantering from one cone to the next. Or you're doing a half a lap around. Or a whole lap. And if that's all your horse has got right now, that's okay. They break gait, you set it up, do your circles, prepare them, pick them back up and go again. And I talked a little bit about that last video too, about the point of no return. The canter is the quickest way to wear your horse out, as far as, especially if they're not in shape for it. So you start doing much canter, they're going to get tired pretty quick with it. Particularly like these drafty horses, the gypsies, they don't have a lot of go there, and so I kind of have to pace them, figure out, okay, how much do they have, and then go, okay, give me a little bit more today. So we did some 20 meters there, did a couple 15s, helped him. As soon as we did that, came back to a trot, he got softer and more relaxed. So we're going to go off the other way now and do some the other direction. And the right lead is a little bit better for him than his left lead. Which hand to hold the crop in? Usually it's going to be the inside hand, but sometimes it can be the outside hand. And then the other thing is too, is some horses you go to touch them with the whip and they're going to kind of crow hop or kick up. If that's an issue, you might tap them on the shoulder. You can vary up where you ask with the whip. Where can it be most effective? And if you're having a lot of issue with that, go back to getting them cantering well on the ground. So here I'm just asking for him to get a nice trot. He's a little bit slow there, so I'm just touching him a little bit with the whip to say, come on, let's go. Now I'm going to prepare for the canter, and canter, he says, no, I don't think so. Picking up the wrong lead. So I set him up again, say, come on, keep going, keep going. Keep the rhythm in there. And that's the thing, you have to know your horse. The gypsies and the draft type horses aren't going to have a lot of forward usually. And nope, he says no. So actually I'm wrong, this lead here is a little stickier with. So I'm just going to keep setting him up, shift my weight out, prepare, and go. Now it's going to say keep going, and the whip is what keeps asking him to keep going. Yeah. So as we do our part, we stay soft, we stay relaxed, just moving with the movement of the canter. Now the horse's job is to just start maintaining. Yeah, I like how he's starting to stretch down, reach down into that stride a little bit. I'm not asking for him to be on the bit or anything like that. I'm just saying, can you stay on this circle? And you might be with your horse, like there he kind of broke and gate himself, and I'm like, I'm not going to make a huge deal out of that. Particularly if they break gate and their feet kind of go flying everywhere. Don't ask them to pick the canter up when their feet are flying everywhere. Set it up again, then ask. Or like he, was needing a little break there, so I'm going to ask it again. But I'm going to be real cautious about giving him too many breaks when he breaks gate himself, because then they'll just start shutting down early. So he has to maintain the canter. His job is to keep going. We're just doing the 20 meter right now. And if your horse needs to go bigger and he oblongs out more to that end of the arena and stuff, it's not a big deal. Just keep bringing them back, setting them up till they can find the rhythm on this side circle. That's why it always goes back to forward rhythm first, then the line of travel, then the bend. And this is particularly important at the canter, because he just needs to get the canter going, maintain. Then we start saying, okay, give me somewhat of a circle. Then it's, okay, give me a nice circle. So we're going to give him a little bit of a break here now, and then we're going to go back to the other lead. We're going to start playing with the 15 meter again, and we'll see if we can get actually a 10 meter. So, and don't be afraid to give your horses some breaks in between this, because particularly if they're not in shape, let them catch their breath, find it. Oftentimes if we just keep pushing and pushing the canter, they get so tired, or actually more what happens is they get a little more into an adrenaline state, and then they might just go, go, go. If you have a hot horse with horse like this, they will tend to start shutting down on you, and then you got to get really firm with them to keep them going. So you're trying not to overdo it, but just enough. So here we've given them a little break, so we're going to come back, and now I'm going to pick the trot up again. And we ask for the canter. A little touch with the whip. He was pretty good, but I just wanted a little bit more from him. And now I'm going to come in and do a 15 meter, and I'm going to try to ride fairly close to the outside red and the green. And it's much better than last time. So I do 2 circles. Now I can go big back out onto the 20 meter. When I'm ready, he's ready, I can do another 10 meter at any of the green cones I choose. Yeah, and go back to the next. This one I'm going to try for a 10 meter. Say keep going, keep going, keep going. I have to touch him a little with the whip to say keep going. That made him kind of stretch out a little. Not quite just the 10 meter, but a little bit better. Yeah, and then I'm going to come down. Let him have that trot, because there was some changes there. Is it perfect? No. But he started to release, come through his back better. He gave me some effort with it. That's what I'm looking for. And if I would have kept him going too much longer, he would have started falling apart. Because he's losing the energy, he's losing his ability to keep going. He only has so much there, and so you have to capture the essence, the best part of it in the time frame he has. Because if you don't, now he's physically just so tired he can't do it anymore. It's just like if you ever go to a gym and you're really working out, and then they add even more to it, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's no way, because your body only has so much it can give. And so that's where it's always a balancing act of giving enough, but try not to overdo it. And so that's what I'm looking for there, is getting a little change, letting him come out of it, letting him have that. Say, be like, oh, thank you. We can do lots of repetitions of this over the next couple weeks. And those where you're just pushing it a little bit beyond and doing that a couple times in a ride, or maybe it's even just one time, but both leads. And each day you just keep progressing it on into a little bit more and a little bit more. And that's where the strength really starts to kick in. Okay, so that was the left lead. Now we're going to do the same thing with the right lead here. is I'm just going to come around. His trot's a little bit pokey here, so I just touch him a little bit, saying, hey, give me a little bit more trot. Set up for the canter, shift my weight out, and he says, nope, let's pick up the wrong lead. I'm like, no. I have to get a little more bands, do a little leg yield, shift, and there we go. So I just help him. What does he need to get the canter? He's not nearly as stiff in this lead once he picks it up. And now I'm going to do a 15. So he comes through his body better this way than the other way, but it's not as easy for him to pick up this lead. And we'll do another 15. See, he's starting to release some. And go off to a 20. This one we're gonna shoot for a 10 meter. Say, keep going, keep going. Yeah, there he really had to push through. I like that. Try that here. Oh, not quite, but not bad. Because you'll know how much they can do. What's the tightest circle they can do? Good. And there, so I was going to come down anyway, right there, but he kind of slips because he's getting tired. And I was starting to feel him fatiguing a little bit. And when they start getting into the fatigue stage, you don't have much left. You have to find a good spot for them pretty quickly there. But that was really good. I'm happy with that because I can, over the next couple weeks, keep playing with that to eventually we'll be able to canter along and do 10 meter just as quietly and easily as a 20 meter. And even the 20 meter, he's still kind of bracy and tight. But over time, I'm going to be able to start picking him up a little bit more, getting him to carry himself better and better. It's all a progression. Just take your time with it, particularly at the canter. It's not a fast thing to develop. So, any questions, leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.